laying brick to the line. No, we haven't. That's what we're going to do now. We've been buttering brick and spreading mortar, learning how to handle the materials. Now we're going to start doing it to the line. 99% of brickwork is done to the line. You only use the level for building the leads and small piers, but everything else is line work. So what you've done up to this point is preparing you for this. I wrote the instructions on the blackboard. You can refer to them as we go along. The first thing we want to do is set up some dead men. Okay, we call them dead men because they just sit up here, they don't move, and they hold the line. Now the dead men, we're going to set them up so it works out whole brick. So what you do is just set them up like this. Put the first one even with the end of the block, even with the front of the wall. Now it's important that it's even with the front of the wall, because if it's sticking out, that means your brick's going to be overhanging. So wherever this is, that's where your wall's going to be. This one we'll leave go for now because I want to lay out the bond. We lay it out dry, and we use the tip of the finger, just this part where the nail is, to space it. The tendency is to make these joints 1/2 inch or 5/8, all right? They should be 3/8 of an inch, no more. All right, once you have, what's it, 3, 6, 9. Got 9 bricks laid. Just get this last one and move it down. Make sure that it's even, and you have a joint here at the end. And then you mark the bond in the front, just like you did before. If there's marks already there, wipe them off. Get a 1/2 a brick, use the edge, the corner of the brick, and just rub it along there and wipe those marks off. Don't rely on somebody else's marks, because you don't know if they're right or not. Last week some guys were laying brick and they used somebody else's marks. They got to the middle and they ended up with a space this big. Doesn't work. So make your own marks. Mark the end of the block and then mark each brick. Now we're only doing this now because you're learning, you're training, but eventually it's not necessary to mark every brick. What you do later on, you mark every 3 or 4 brick, and you learn to gauge the size of the joint with your eye. Okay, so I laid out and mark the bond. The next thing we got to do is mark coursing. You open your ruler up, you put the one facing down, set it on the block, and wherever there's a number 6, you mark it. And you don't need a big line, just something that's clear. Doesn't have to, don't make it real thick. Just the thickness of the pencil. And you should be able to get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how many courses you're going to lay on there. Now do the same thing on this side. Again, even though there might be marks on the block, double check them. Make sure you put your own on there. Okay, now the number 6 indicates the top of the first brick. Okay, so that allows for a joint. So that's the thickness of the brick plus a joint, each one. Okay, once that's set up, then we can hang the line with the line blocks. Now there's a box up behind the desk marked line blocks. When you're done with the lines at the end of the day, put the blocks together, wrap the line around them like this. If not, we end up with a box full of spaghetti. And it takes a long time to untangle them. Just wrap them up neatly. It only takes a second. When you hang the line, you always hang it on the left and pull to the right. That's because most people are right-handed, and that's the easiest way to pull. It's difficult for a right-hander to go the other way with it. Now, on a short wall like this, it really doesn't make that much difference. I'm talking about a wall that's maybe 50, 60 feet long. When you got to tug hard on it, okay, it's easier to tug hard with your left hand and wrap it with your right hand. The way you do this is you lay the line through the slot, give yourself about 12, 16 inches tail. You grab the tail, you wrap it around 3 times, and through the slot. And that holds it nice and tight. It's not going to go anywhere. Just hang that on there. And you have to learn to do this by yourself, because many times you'll be on the job, you'll be sent out to put the line up and get things ready for the rest of the guys when they come over. And you might have a line, instead of 8 feet long, you might be 50 or 60 feet long. So if you got something that's 50 or 60 feet long, wrapped out like this, and you leave go and you let that block fall like that, that's going to go down between the scaffold and the wall and wrap around the scaffolding. Hey, and it's a real pain in the butt to go back and try to get that thing straight. And you're going to be screwing around with that for about 15 minutes, and then the foreman's going to come over expecting you to be set up, because he's got 3 or 4 guys that are going to work the same wall with you, and that could cause a problem. Okay? So you have to learn how to do this. It's an absolute necessity. Okay, you pull it, you hold it so it doesn't come off. You don't have to pull it so you're going to pull that block off. And get this block, hold it about even with the end of the wall, remove it from the slot so you can hold it with your thumb like that with one hand. This hand you're going to wrap it just like you did before. And now you have to pull a little tension to get that to hang by itself. Set that right on the pencil mark. Come back, adjust this one to the pencil mark. Now, once the line's up, spread your mortar and lay the first course. This we do the same way we've been doing. One person will spread from that end to the center. Next person will go from the center to here. If you're left-handed, it's the other way. You start here to here, here to there. Remember all the little details about spreading, okay? Heel up. Spread close to the end of the wall. When you furrow, don't furrow too deeply. Turn the trowel outward so the mortar comes forward and fills in all these empty gaps in the front here. Now when you get to the end here, because of this block, you just come out this way a little bit and turn your trowel like that. Cut the mortar off. Start laying brick. Remember the correct way to butter. If you're coming from this direction, you butter this end of the brick. Now, when you lay a brick to the line, the whole object is to do this without touching the line. Because if there's 3 or 4 or 5 people working on the same line, and you got your thumb down here like this, and you go to lay that brick, you're moving the line. So the other guy can't be laying his brick to the line while you have your thumb on it, because it's pushing it out, so you don't have a true wall line. All right, so it's important that you hold that brick correctly with the thumb at the very top. So when you come in like this, you squeeze against here, you're laying the brick leaning back just slightly so the thumb clears it. See how I'm going like this with my thumb? Just clear the line. Then you reposition your hand, squeeze it down, and cut the mortar off. You want to make sure that the top of the brick, if you read that last sign up there, the white one, lay the brick and block even with the top of the line and 1/16 of an inch away from the line. What that means, oh, here we go. What that means, here we're looking at a brick from the end, this way. And this is the line. That means the top of the brick is even with the top of the string. Okay, the line is down below the top of the brick. And that space in between the brick and the block, the brick and the line, is about the same as the thickness of the string. Okay, about 1/16 of an inch. You don't want it back anymore. You don't want it touching the line. The brick must never touch the line. Okay, it must always be free. That way you have a true line. Once you start touching the line, then the line's going to push out, and now you don't have a straight line anymore. Okay, now the line's going to be like this, and that means your wall is going to be like that. All right, so you always keep the wall free from the line. Squeeze it in, reposition your hand, check your bond, press it down, cut the mortar off. Do not bang on the brick. Ooh, there's a rock in here. Now these brick are varying in size, and as you can see, these joints are pretty tight. I'm starting to get a little bit ahead here. I'm going to start coming from this end and see how it works out. Also, some of these brick you'll find have a hump in them. They'll be bent this way. If you find a brick that's humped up like that, turn it over. So the hump is this way. That way, this end and this end will be laid to the line. This will be a little bit lower, but that's okay, rather than laid with the hump up. Somebody didn't screed this mortar. It has a lot of rocks in it. Makes it difficult to lay the brick. And what do we call the last brick? What's the last brick called that we lay on the wall, on the course?
Cool.
What's it called? Anybody know the name?
I know.
What?
What's what called?
The last brick I lay here. What do you call that brick? It's a closure brick. Closure. You're closing it off. You're closing off the course. All right? Closure. Real simple. Butter double joint the closure. Got to make sure you don't have any rocks in your mortar, guys. Makes it very difficult. All right, I'm going to lay one more course, and I'm going to show you how to strike it up. Any halves over there on that pile? Need one half. Always put the line up before you spread. Reason for that is that if you're working, thank you, if you're working on a line with a lot of people, and some guys are faster than you at spreading, well, they can get started laying their bricks. Okay, if you're a little slower. If the line's not up, they're not going to be able to do that. Okay, remember your half, put the cut part facing back. Same thing. Now you want to make sure as you lay this, you want to make sure that the bottom of the brick is even with the bottom of the brick here, and you're even with this here. Just like that. And every once in a while, get down at eye level and sight it. And see if the back is up. Okay, it's the biggest problem you guys are going to come across is hacking. Hacking is when you have the back of the brick up. And what that does, when it hacks, it kicks the bottom in, and then you end up with a little lip over here. Okay? So it's important to lay the brick straight. Squeeze it in, press it down, cut the excess off. Some more rocks in there. Make sure you get a joint up against the block, and you want to keep that joint consistent. Okay, you want the joint to be the same size here as it is here. Now we get to the closure, we double joint again. Make sure we got enough room. Uh-oh. Got ahead of the bond a little bit here. Remember, these brick do vary in size. Anywhere from 7 5/8 to about 8 1/4. Okay, so you have to adjust sometimes. Okay, get down at eye level, check it for hacking, see if anything's up above. After you do a couple of courses, raise your line up, cut all the excess off the back. You don't have to walk around the wall for this. Just reach back, cut that excess off, and now you're ready to strike. Okay? Any questions so far? All right, I had to get this striking tool.